ashes where we stand under skies of gray. Hear the whispers of the past where the lost souls sway. Dreams burn like gasoline, flickering in pain. But rise we must, embracing the flame. No more chains. Scorched earth, rippling doubts. Awake from the drought. Scorched earth, we conquer, we build from the wreck. Resilient hearts beating, defying the specs. Every scar tells a story, each wound brings respect. In the shadows of despair, we earn our collect. 1 hour with the flames, feel the heat ignite. Reviving ancient spirits, giving them the fight. Prophecies here, guiding through the night. Through the cracks in the pavement, we'll reach for the light. Voices of the wounded, lost but never subdued. Scorched earth, we conquer, we build from the wreck. Resilient hearts beating, defying the specs. Every scar tells a story, each wound brings respect. In the shadows of despair, we earn our collect. So rise from the ashes, let the fire react. 1 hour of rebirth, we never looking back. Let the fire react. 1 hour of rebirth, we never looking back. Ya da 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 da. In the ashes where we stand under skies of gray. Hear the whispers of the past where the lost souls sway. Dreams burn like gasoline, flickering in pain. But rise we must, embracing the flame. No more chains. Scorched earth, rippling doubts. Awake from the drought. Scorched earth, we conquer, we build from the wreck. Resilient hearts beating, defying the specs. Every scar tells a story, each wound brings respect. In the shadows of despair, we earn our collect. 1 hour with the flames, feel the heat ignite. Reviving ancient spirits, giving them the fight. Prophecies here, guiding through the night. Through the cracks in the pavement, we'll reach for the light. Voices of the wounded, lost but never subdued. Scorched earth, we conquer, we build from the wreck. Resilient hearts beating, defying the specs. Every scar tells a story, each wound brings respect. In the shadows of despair, we earn our collect. So rise from the ashes, let the fire react. 1 hour of rebirth, we never looking back. Ya da da. Let the fire react. 1 hour of rebirth, we never looking back. Ya da 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 da.
Blessings, believers and villagers. Why are there not more people talking about the clash between biblical principles and a carnal lifestyle? You can't mix biblical principles with a carnal lifestyle. Just like oil and water, they simply don't blend. God's word calls us to live a life set apart, a life that reflects His love, grace, and truth. But when we try to serve both Christ and the world, we find ourselves torn. The Bible says in Matthew 6:24, no one can serve two masters. You have to make a choice. Will you follow the world's fleeting pleasures, or will you commit to a life that honors God? Choosing Christ means embracing His teachings, His love, and His purpose for your life. It means turning away from actions and desires that pull you away from Him. So, what will it be? A life of confusion and conflict, or a life of peace and purpose? Remember, you can't have both. Make your choice today. Choose Christ and let His principles guide your every step. Love and peace to you all.
Hey. Welcome to the Scorched Earth Hour. How we doing today, Village family? What's up, Bolo? How we doing, bro?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Oh, man, I can't complain, man. I could, but it ain't gonna matter.
Well, you know I'm here.
You don't matter.
Wow. I'm glad you got that off your chest. I'm glad you got that off your chest. So now we can have a serious conversation, right?
Yeah. You know, hey,
Yeah,
you know me, man. I gotta start it off just off the bat.
yeah, you got to start it off attacking me. It's all good, brother. I appreciate you and how you attack me. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Hey, if I did, man, I can't say I love you.
I got you. All right,
Okay,
cool.
good. Long as we got an understanding, you know.
As long as we got an understanding. As long as
Yeah. What's going on, man? Hey,
I'm,
you get any visits from your friend
yeah,
today?
yeah. She came out today. She scared me. She came out. She just walked right over to me. You know, it looks like she. It looks like she's coming over to me most of the time by herself. So there's no other deer around. It's just her.
Oh wow.
You know
In
what
a
I'm saying?
minute, man. Well, you tried to make a bed for her. She turned around and looked at it like like you was crazy.
It was crazy. She looked
Yeah,
at it like
man.
it was crazy. But
Yeah,
how you
today,
feeling, Mike?
how's the weather out there, man? Is it still snowing or is it kind of slowed up
Yeah,
a little bit?
it's snowing right now. There's ice is falling right now.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. It's 2 days in a row, man. It's been kind of sunny. It's still chilly outside, but it's sunny out there. But I ain't went out nowhere, so I guess
that's
you could say it's been a pretty cool day.
that's good, man. So we got some nice videos. Got some nice
Yeah,
videos.
man. I mean, it took a minute, but I mean, yeah, man. The three that came up, man. This should be very thought provoking for everyone, man. Everybody should be able to learn something from each one of them, you know. So yeah,
I got it. I got it. You
yeah,
know, you
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
give
yeah.
some shout outs to the people in the place to be?
Yeah, let me see who's up in the house today. We got Miss Lady Navoa. How we doing, sis? We got Miss Shirley F. We got Nightbot, the constant one. Who else? We got is that Genesis one? I believe. Yeah, Genesis one. If I read it wrong, forgive me. Once again, Lady Navoa, Nightbot, Lady Navoa. Oh, there we go. The traveling prophet, Mr. Uncle himself, the old man himself. What's up, Von Bryant? ACOG. ACOG, what's up, brother? Brands Nesbitt 777. What's up, brother? CMBN. Who else we got up here? Oh, we got my mama on here, Miss Francis. What's up, lady? And who else? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for so far. Shout out to everybody that's listening in on the back, that's listening on the live and not on the live chat itself. And let's go on and get it started, bro.
All right, let's get it started. Let's get it popping. No doubt. Okay, so the first one, I will pull it up. Give me a second. I hit that, then do this, then do that. Bam. And I will get us out of the way. What I'm doing, get us out of the way. And let me do this. Bam. Stop that. Hit this. All right. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Who takes care of Shaquille O'Neal?
Nobody. Take care of myself. Like I caught flack one time. I was on this young lady's podcast and she said, do you express your emotion to your woman? I said, no. Why would I do that? Oh, and they tried to kill me. But I don't. And the reason why, because as a man, you are to protect, provide, and love. And women are emotional and caring. So if I'm telling her I have a bad day, now it's two people with bad days. I don't tell my woman I'm having a bad day. How's your day? I'm good, baby. I got to take care of it. Because if you put stress on her, she's going to put it right back on you. Because it's our job to protect, provide, and love. But people, oh, you did? No, I don't do that. I take care of everything, and that's just how it's going to be. And you know why I'm like that? Because it's worked for me. It's worked for me. So I'm not going to meet somebody now and be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Talk to me.
Well, I like his sentiment. And if you listen to the rest of that interview, I believe that's the same interview where he talks about his biggest regret because he was when he was married to Shawnee, he didn't treat her in the way and how he was supposed to treat her. And I'm starting to wonder after I listened to this right here, saying, could it be that when she came looking to you to ask you what was going on with you, what was your deepest thoughts, what was stressing you out for the day, and you turned around because of that mindset, you had the mindset to not say anything because you on this big machismo, making it look like I'm here to protect, lead. Well, also in that protection and lead, and that's also being vulnerable enough to be vulnerable to the woman that you chose to be in your life. Instead, he chose to go outside of the home and he ended up losing his wife. In that very same video, if I'm not mistaken, he went down further on to where he said, I got all this wealth and everything else. And when I walk into this home, what I walk into now is not what it was years ago. I walk into an empty space where it's just me. So, I mean, nah, people don't care about what we think. People don't really ask about what's going on with us as men because we are taught from the beginning when we're young, big boys don't cry. Yeah, you cut, put some bandage it up and keep it going. I don't want to hear about your complaints. You know, and let us not be one that's been molested or been put in a situation in our vulnerable state as children, as boys, and we grow up with that same type of attitude. Because then what it does is it's make us very introvert, some of us, to where we have a hard time sharing our emotions. And it makes us look stoic to some, but then to others, it also makes us look weak. So when we deal with our women, they don't really know how to deal with us because of the way and how we come off. Well, I didn't come to you and tell you anything because you act like you got everything. I've been told that before. Not realizing that that's what I saw. That's what how I was raised. My grandfather, I didn't see him. I can only remember maybe once or twice I saw my grandfather cry. Other than that, stoic, strong. I remember he telling me one day, he said, you got 5 families to take care of. He told me what I had to take care of in each one of them within a matter of 30 seconds. You know what he told me after that, Bolo? He said, get to it. I can't remember the last time my father or my grandfather, my stepfather, different. But my grandfather, my father, the two most important in my life, men, never heard them once tell me they love me. Not once. Had them both say they proud of me, but never once. It just wasn't in their makeup. Just wasn't. So yeah, I get where he's coming from, but in his situation, I kind of could see why he's like that because I mean, sometimes we put ourselves in that position. So that's how I look at it.
Okay. Well, let's read, before I give you my breakdown, let's read what some of the people are saying, and I'll let you respond to it. Vaughn says, it's unfortunate that men cannot express themselves in relations. I've always been very open with my wife, whether I've had a bad day or a good day. She is my help. She is my encouragement. And Genesis 1 says, that is not entirely true. Many women, like me, care about what men think and feel. However, I've ran into quite a few men like Shaq. We have always tried to be there for our men. Amen. And she puts a question mark behind that. Do you want to address
I
that?
can respond to both of them. Yeah, Von Bryant, consider yourself to be one of the blessed ones because I can guarantee you, I can bring about 10 other men that's married right now, and they would to give you a different aspect of that. And we wonder why our divorce rate amongst believers is at the rate that it is. Most of it is because of the fact that we are married to women who don't see us in the factors and how your wife may have saw you, how she sees you, where she's looking for your open honesty and things of that nature. She comes to you, allowing you to be vulnerable. A lot of these women today, nah, they too much focus in on themselves and what it is that how you can make them feel better. I come to you with my problems. I come to you, yeah, you pay the bills, you do this, you do that, you do that. And on top of that, you got to be focusing about what it is that I feel and what it is I want. I can care less about you, because at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about how to please me. And this is how I'm telling you, you can get you get some of these brothers up in there and you really listen to them. Here's another problem I have. It's sad that we as men can't come to one another and be vulnerable to one another without being browbeaten. And Bolo, you know, I've always had a conversation with you about that. I should be able to come to any one of you brothers and be able to be open about things that is going on within me that I may not be able to be comfortable enough to talk to my wife about, or either one of my spiritual mother, Miss Francis, or my godmother. You understand what I'm saying? But if I come to you as men, the last ones that I need to get beat up from. Now, if I need to be held accountable for something, that's one thing. Because when you look at the statistics of attempted unaliving suicide, as they like to say, we're more successful at completing it than it is women. So that should tell you something about where a lot of us at mentally. Yeah, we're taught, like I said before, to not say anything, keep everything inside. And sometimes keeping everything inside is the very thing that's killing us from within. That's what keeps us quiet, because of the fact that who can I talk to? And I understand this thing about, well, you shouldn't tell nobody what you feeling. Well, that's why God put people in place. That's your spiritual leaders, your parents, or wise counsel. What does it say in the world? In the company of in the company of wise counsel, or something to that degree. I'm paraphrasing. You know where I'm talking about, Bolo. I'm sorry. Something about wise counsel. When you're in the company of a group of people, you are within wise counsel. Something to that nature. Well, if we're supposed to keep things to ourselves, why would they have a word in a scripture in there for that? None of us. We all don't have the answers. We know where the answer lies. And we all need help at some point or another. And that's one of the things that disheartens me about us as brothers. We'll kick on one of our brothers harder than the sisters will. Simply because of the fact that we don't see them where we think they need to be at. Instead of sitting up there saying, what can I do to help pick you up? What can I do to help you get to your position where you need to get to, so you can be a better man, not just for yourself, but for your wife and your family, your children. Iron is sharpening of iron. It seems like the only time we want to sharpen iron is when we want to sit up there and beat up on one another.
That scripture you was looking for was Proverbs 11:14. I'll read it for you. It says, where there is no counselor, people fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. And to Genesis 1, I agree with her.
You want to read what she wrote? She wrote, that is not entirely true. Many women, like me, care about what men think and feel. However, I have ran into quite a few men like Shaq. We have always tried to be there for our men. Amen.
Okay. I just got a text from my boy. He said because they don't give a damn. And a lot of us are in fear of being judged. So he just texted that to me. So he's listening, but he's not listening. He's not able to. He's not on the live chat. Right. Yeah, he's in the cloud. So,
okay.
You know, And I agree with that. And with Genesis, what she said, I
Mhm.
can attest to, but there's not enough of Genesis. There's not enough of Mother Space. There's not enough of Lady Navois, the Lady Lyrics. There's not enough of the SBs. Because see, in the same way in how we try to deal with one another as men, we need a lot more of them to be able to sit up there and combat what it is that our women come out with. Because that's a heavy load to sit up there and have to sit up there and be the stewards over everyone. Because what happens is we sit up there and we start to focus in on just one group and we leave out the other. You ever notice when it comes to a thing of where you hear a video or whatnot, where they're focusing on one group, whether it be the man or the woman, and immediately after that, yeah, I know that's it, but what about that? They immediately go back to the other, the other sex. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, when it comes to us as men, we kind of just take it with a grain of salt because we already know, don't nobody care. Really, I tell you all the time, Scorch, how you doing? Oh, I can complain, but it ain't nothing. Don't nobody care. I know we joke about it, but in all actuality, really not. No, nobody really cares because it's all about it. People. We selfish, dog. At the end of the day, we're selfish, stiff-necked, unruly type of people. Period.
Let me read to you
Oh,
what Scam wrote. Scam wrote, if I can't be vulnerable with a woman, why would I want her? Then he comes back and says, I think fear to be vulnerable is weakness. Want to respond to that?
well, first of all, I would say to him, why would you be vulnerable to a woman that ain't your wife?
Well, I'm thinking that's what he
That's
meant. So let's just
well,
speak.
but see, the thing is, you're gonna have to, in order for you to be able to realize that that is your wife in some way or another, you're gonna have to be vulnerable to him eventually, right? Or are we gonna say we gotta wait until we walk down the aisle and say I do, and then we find out
No.
whether
I think you
is that what
misheard.
he's talking about?
He said, if I can't be vulnerable with a woman, why would I want her? In other words, he's saying I should be able to be vulnerable with her.
Okay. I misunderstood it, Cam. My bad. I misunderstood. No problem. Yeah, I agree with you. But here go the thing, no Bolo. If we're talking about those of us as believers, once again, we go into this subject of what do we consider? It's like, okay, if it's my wife, if you the husband is, how can we pick and choose when it is that if I choose not to be vulnerable to you on this one time or for a stint, let's just say for 6 months, we just been out of place. We've been out of alignment. Then what? Then what? What do we do then? Because see, when we walk with the type of attitudes that we walk with, how do we stand as one, as united in the way in Christ has taught us, as he has shown us? See, once again, it's all about what it is that we feel. And see, this is what it is. This is why what my boy said, don't nobody care. Because when he said fear and he turned around and he knocked it right off. Well, if you fear, that shows a sign of weakness. Does it really?
Well,
Because I think in some way or another, I think we all have some form of fear inside of us.
I mean, here's okay. Here's the thing. From where I'm sitting down looking at it. There's a certain way there's a certain way as men we show up. There's a certain way as men, husbands rather, how we demonstrate our vulnerability to our wife, right? There's a way that we do it. Our job is to create an environment for the family to flourish in. Our job is, to protect the family. So let's not speak anecdotally, right? Because that's, you'll have some wives in the chat that's going to say, "Hey, I do for my husband. I do for him as Genesis did." And you're going to find some husbands going to say, "Hey, I talked to my wife as you seen in VB."
Von Bryant response. Yeah.
So let's speak in general, right?
Well, I mean, that's how. Okay, let me
Yeah, no, I'm not
say
saying
this,
you are.
y'all.
I'm not saying
No. But
But
yeah, but that's I try to practice every week because that's when I talk. I'm not talking it to someone anecdotally. I'm not pointing a finger at anyone on it. I'm just speaking in general.
I got you.
And I don't like to make the preface of saying not all and this and that. When if the rock hasn't hit you, please don't holler.
Okay.
Please. That's all I ask.
Okay. Well, I approach it a little bit differently. I will preface everything that what you're saying is, listen, we're speaking generally. I don't think I have to say it. I'm saying me, I like to err on the side of precaution. So I'm gonna say it. We're speaking in general. You dig what I'm saying? We're speaking in general. And of course, we're gonna have exceptions to the rule. Okay. We always have exceptions to the rule. We're not speaking to the exceptions, we're speaking to the rule. And we look outside of our windows and we see that this issue
What we
exists.
see. Yeah.
Okay, so from a spiritual and traditional lens, men have long been taught by scripture, by fathers, by hard-earned consequences, how to treat women with honor, protection, restraint, and sacrifice. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. Ephesians 5:25. That lesson is drilled into the bones. Love her, cover her, lead well, die to self, and rightly so. Even those that are not believers. This is taught from the inception of a baby boy. Okay. But in most situations, somewhere along the road, we stop teaching little girls or women what the other side of the covenant is, how to perform, but how to care for a man's soul. Scripture doesn't ignore this. It is not good for a man to be alone. Genesis 2:18, a helper is not lesser. A helper is essential. Men thrive on respect, peace, encouragement, and loyalty. When a man feels trusted, honored, and believed in, he will move mountains. When he feels constantly diminished, even a strong man slowly falls inside, right? So what does this mean? It means today, the same way we have to teach men about, hey, listen, there's a certain way women need to be spoken to. There's a certain way that we need to take these words that we have and put it in a way that they can understand it. Not that they won't understand it the way we say it, but we have to understand we process things differently. Both of us process things differently. So when I would say something to Scorch, very direct, sometimes harshly, he can process that. Our wives are our emotional portion of us, right? So there's a certain way we have to talk to them, a certain way we have to be around them, a certain environment we have to cultivate. So this means teaching women gently, wisely, without accusation. That love for a man often looks like affirmation instead of correction, partnership instead of competition. When I say partnership, understand that you play your position the same way we play ours in the rights of what marriage is, okay? And peace instead of pressure. Just as men must learn emotional intelligence and gentleness, women must learn discernment, patience, and how their words and tone either build a home or burn it down. A gentle tongue is a tree of life, Proverbs 15:4. This is not about blame. This is definitely not about blame. It's about balance. Healthy relationships are not sustained by who is right. It's not sustained that way. Because if someone is right, that means someone is wrong. And when you push it in that vibration, although you may walk away thinking you're the winner, how did you propagate and push up the home in the name of Christ? We didn't. Right? So it's not about who is right, but who is faithful to the work. When both men and women are taught how to love in the way the other receives love, that's what's important. When we're both taught on how we receive love individually, because men don't love the way women love. Women don't love the way men love. We love differently. There's different protocols to the love that we have one for another. Okay? When both men and women are taught how to love in the way the other receives love, homes heal, marriages endure, and generations stand taller. It's not old-fashioned, that's timeless wisdom wearing modern clothes. And that's just basically what it is. Okay, he was taught, you have to know the background on a little bit about Shaq, right? His stepfather was a military man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know everything about his marriage, so I can't speak to that. But I'll speak to what I do know. His father was a military man, and military men think this attack, move forward, such and such, right? You bury your feelings down. This is what they're taught. I think outside of the military, we teach our sons the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We may not be as stern as a military man would be and as pinpoint as a military man would be, but we teach our young boys this too. We teach our young girls that they're supposed to be treated as princesses. We don't treat them, most of us, okay, don't teach them to say, hey, you have to be the helpmate one day to this husband that you're going to meet. And we can lie and say that we do. We don't. Especially in the black and brown community, man. We don't. As a community, we don't. We can sit here and say we do. We don't at all. And that has to change. That has to change. Because if we can do it for one when they're a child, we can do it for the other when they're a child. And remember what the Lord says, when you raise them up this way, they won't turn from the truth. They won't turn from it. But we have to implement the word. We have to implement the word on both fronts. We have to implement the word. It's very important that we do so. So that's my thoughts on it. Your words on it.
No, I agree with you. We can move on to the next
Says
video.
The truth is relationship skills are not taught. That's wrong. It's wrong. It's totally wrong because Scam, I will take you to, and this is just off the head. I tell you guys, with this snow, it's really. I will take you to. I'll take you to Titus chapter 2, verse 1 through 3. Yeah, okay, you can explain, but I'll take you to it, right? And it says here, and this is Paul speaking to Titus. It says, but as for you, speak the things, speak the things which are proper for sound doctrine. This is what Paul is telling Titus. Speak the things that are proper for sound doctrine, that the older men be sober. Make sure that these cats, and he's not talking about drunk, even though that's implemented and inferred. He's talking about be sober in mind, be vigilant, meaning being able to look around and understand and critique what's going on around, right? Reverent, temperate, sound in faith, in love, in patience. There's that word, love, always there. And the older women likewise, teach the older women likewise that they be reverent in behavior, not slanderous, not given in much wine, teachers of good things, that they admonish the young wives, the young women to love their husbands. So it is taught. It is taught.
He said he was he wasn't referring to the Bible, he was referring to general life.
It's still taught. Kids learn. You have to understand, even I was just giving you the scriptures, but I can give you everyday experience. Kids learn from what they see.
That's right.
Kids learn from what they see. They don't just wake up one day and just start putting a fist in a woman's eye. It doesn't work that way at all. This child was groomed and in an environment to move a certain way. Trading Places was a perfect movie for that. Trading Places was a perfect movie with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. You took one cat that was raised in a place where he was prosperous, and he was, and you had one dude that was raised in the streets, and he became a pimp, drug dealer, whatever. When they switched the environments, one acclimated himself to being a pimp, the other acclimated himself to being successful. So environment
very successful at being successful.
So environment has a big part to play in it. Now we understand that that child has to grow and understand, and their mind has to develop, but environment has a lot to do with it. But we're going to be putting the link after the next 2 videos, and we'll get the people to come up. And yes, absolutely. You can explain your side. Are we done with this, or do you want to go to the next one?
Yeah, no, move on to the next one, man.
All right. Next one is this one. Hold on. Bam. Hold on. Let me take us out of the picture.
Dad, what does it mean for a woman to submit to a man?
See, so it's a very controversial topic, Maria, okay? Because women like to do things their own way nowadays, and they don't want to submit to a man because they think that makes them lesser of a woman to submit to a man. Men are like an umbrella, and the world is like a thunderstorm. And women can either go out into the thunderstorm and get completely soaked and drenched, or
Can go under the umbrella?
what?
Or they can go under the umbrella?
Exactly, or they can go under the umbrella. What a lot of women have a hard time realizing is that that umbrella is only useful to cover and protect her from the storm if she holds it up, right? So if a woman wants to be protected by the covering of a man, she has to then submit underneath his covering and protection. But some women have a hard time with ego and pride that they don't want to be underneath another man. But what they fail to realize is that the umbrella can't be used for its intended purpose without the woman holding
The umbrella?
correct. What good does an umbrella do if you just hold it out to the side?
Nothing.
Nothing, exactly. But so many women want to be equal to men. They don't want to be underneath men, that they hold the umbrella out to the side, wondering why they keep getting drenched in the storm. But the way to be protected by the covering is to submit to being underneath it. Does that mean that the woman is less? No, it doesn't. Because guess what? The umbrella can't do its job without the support of the woman. Right? So men need women to support us so that we can cover them and protect them from storms. Here's the caveat to that. Men have to be full of integrity. Otherwise, even if a woman holds that umbrella up, she's still going to get drenched by the holes in the umbrella.
Floor is yours.
I love this analogy. I mean, it's almost like it's one of them type of situations where you taking your daughter out to go get some ice cream, and it's one of them type of conversations that you never thought you would be able to have. And then to be able to answer in a way to where she's actually even answering the question as you're actually giving her the answer herself because of the way and how you put it. Now, people, let's understand that was a child that he was talking to. And just as well as I said earlier, Scam turned around and said some men are not the umbrellas, they the ones that are the storm. Well, my answer to that is, well, if you as a woman seeing that they are the storm, why would you even sit up there and take the chance of making yourself an umbrella when you're not the umbrella? And I think that's the difference in where we make our mistakes at, Bolo. Sometimes our women are out there thinking that they are the umbrellas and they can cover their own storms. And that was never the way it was supposed to be created. So once again, Scam just kind of proved my point earlier when I said this is why men don't come and actually open up to other men in a way, because immediately, bam. Well, sometimes we wasn't looking for sometimes. We was just talking specifically, and the crazy part is, once again, we was talking about the role of what it is of a husband being what it is that he's supposed to be. Even when the question was asked to him, why does, the submission thing? He explained it, and even still, even in an explanation, we still have someone who turns around and say, yeah, but what if? What about? Isn't this the same thing we complain about when we get on the men? The first thing that happens, what is it that we always complain about, Bolo? You men always talking about the women, the women, the women. Well, why do you think that's possible? So our brother sat right here, right up in the comment section, and turned around and did exactly what I told you he was good at. Not him, but what happens? The attack turns right back around. Well, y'all, some of the men are not are the storms themselves. Come on, man. This is why we can't get nowhere. Because when we as brothers can't even sit up there and have a simple conversation about things without us attacking one another. And once again, general. Because this is what goes on in our YouTube streets. This is what goes on in a lot of these spaces. This is why we ain't getting nowhere, man. Honestly. We talking about submission, and he's explaining it to his daughter, who happens to be a female. And yet we still have to turn around and say, well, men are the storm. Most of the men are coming in the storms anyway. Well, okay, fine. We know that. But what did that have to do with the price of tea in China?
Okay, let me get in. Okay. I think that, I think that what he's doing, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, what he's doing is taking the poll of the room, right? And I agree with you. When we're talking about men, we're talking about men. When we're talking about women, we're talking about women. I don't like to interchange the topic, because then the conversation becomes convoluted, right? The example that he gave was a perfect example, because if we take our ego and pride, and I'm talking about both men and women, we put it to the side, it shows that actively both the man and the women are working together to maintain this structure that God set up, that God had set up. And 100% correct, there are men that are the storm themselves, because he mentioned that too, right? He said at the end of it, he said that there are some men that, even though they are umbrellas, they don't protect the women.
They are the storms. Yeah, they still don't protect them. Yeah.
He did cover that, and again, unfortunately, we're going to have these conversations. We're going to have to. And we're going to have to preface it. We're going to have to say, listen, when we're talking about scripture, we're speaking to believers, guys. Now, if it's a conversation that someone says, well, what if a person is not a believer? That's a whole different conversation, which we're willing to have. That's not a problem. We're willing to have that conversation too. However, we have to understand that the word are for those that are going to follow God. We have to understand that. Now we fall, we slip, we bust our face. That's going to happen until we get out of here. But we have to maintain that, a decorum. There has to be a decorum. So yes, 100% correct, Scam. There are some dudes that are the storm. Correct. The same way we can say there are some women that are the storm. That's not progressive, because all we just did was point fingers at each other, right? That's not progressive. We're talking about, because there's plenty of times we've talked about the brothers. There's plenty of times we've spoken about the men. And when we talk about the men, seldomly do we have pushback. The pushback comes from the people on the stage. The pushback most of the time don't come from the people in the chat, right? So we have to have that same reverence and that same understanding for women. We understand that they are the weaker vessels, so we have to be extra sensitive, because sometimes they may not want to raise their hand. Sometimes they may not want to type something in the chat in fear that they're going to be ridiculed. You're not going to be ridiculed here, right? So we have a problem here. And what is our problem? Our problem is we want our women, hey, 18, we want our women to be, how does it go? Fit, feminine, and the way.
Oh, you talking about the fit, feminine, friendly.
The
Kevin
talking
Samuels. Yeah, talking point. Yeah.
The point of the matter is, if we want our women to be these things, we have to create an environment for them to be that. Let me say it again. If we want our women to be these things, and we all want our women to be these things, we have to create an environment for our wife to be that. So what does that mean? Okay, she may work in an industry that's rough. That's rough. And she has to go into that industry that's filled with men and shut it all down. And she has to take a persona that's masculine. But here's the thing. When you're dealing with a woman that understands, and she understands the type of man that she has, when she goes home, she takes that persona and hangs it at the door, because of the environment.
She's supposed to, yeah.
Because of the environment that her husband cultivated. Better understand that, fellas, because he cultivated that environment. Unfortunately, we have to understand, most of the fingers that get pointed at, it's gonna be us. Let's just be 100. Why is it? Because the Lord put us in charge. It is what it is. He put us as the heads. It is what it is. He didn't take accountability and responsibility away from them, but he's saying, listen, if I leave my oldest child in charge, my oldest child is in charge. I got 2 other children. If something goes wrong with the house, I'm not going to the other 2. I'm coming to the eldest, the one I left in charge. Now, don't get it twisted. Hot sauce for everybody. But I'm going to start with the one I left in charge. So we have to create an environment, fellas, for our wives. No matter where they go into the world, when they come back home, they have an environment where they can be feminine. They have an environment where they can be heard. They have an environment where their voice is heard. Let me explain something to you. Someone said this, and it stuck with me, because it's 100%. And I might mess it up the way I'm saying it. The first voice that should be heard in the house is the woman's voice. The man's voice is the last voice that should be heard, because he's the one that makes the final decision. Let me say it again. The first voice should be the woman. It ain't gonna be my children. It's gonna be my right hand. The last voice is mine. That's the last voice. So when you cultivate that environment for your wife, and you cultivate that environment, then there's no excuse. She understands, man, when I come home, I ain't gotta be I don't have to have my guards up when I come home. And it's the same thing. Because when you create that environment, you're allowing her to be the feminine woman that she can be, so that when you come home, that reciprocity can come back to you. See how that comes? See how that works? You're creating that in her so that when you come home, she can cultivate that environment that you procured. And you can come home and take your crown off and take your sword off and take off your armor laid at the door, because we can't be hard all the time, my dude. And if you can't be soft for, I can't find a better word, soft around your wife, who the hell you gonna be soft around, my dude?
That's my point.
You dig what I'm saying? So, you know, we got to get it together, baby. You know what I'm saying? But the father gave a stupendous breakdown to the accountability and responsibility on both the man and the woman. The umbrella doesn't work unless she puts it over her head. The umbrella doesn't work. And you know, we get caught up on these words. If I'm in the rain, if Bolo's in the rain, if I don't submit to the umbrella being above me, I am going to get wet. The choice is mine. But I am making a conscious decision to say, I'm putting this umbrella above me because it's there to protect me. That's what it's there for. It doesn't make me less of a man. There's a position on why this umbrella is here. There's a reason for it. There's a reason. Why not use why the umbrella was created? Why am I going to try and change and make the umbrella a bat? I'm taking it out of its natural use. So it's a tandem dance that we have to work on. It's a tandem dance because I love the example that he gave. I don't know if you want to add anything to that. We can go to the last.
No, you kind of summed it
This
up.
generation.
Okay, so last video. All right, let me do that. Let me get us out of the way and play this.
This generation needs to break this baby mama and baby daddy trend immediately, because God is not pleased. And I don't care how unpopular that sounds. And before y'all start getting defensive and start saying mistakes happen, God knows my heart, you don't know my story, listen to me all the way through. Yes, mistakes happen, but so does accountability. What we're not going to do is normalize this order and then ask God to bless it. This generation is more worried about a man putting a baby in them than a man actually being committed to them. And that's the truth. Y'all want to be chosen sexually, but not covered covenant-wise. You'll let a man have access to your body before he's proven he can lead, provide, or protect. And then when it goes left, everybody's shocked. But the Bible already told us this. It says God is a God of order, not confusion. So why are we acting surprised when confusion shows up in families built with no order? Baby mama culture is not empowerment. Baby daddy culture is not manhood. It's brokenness dressed up as normal. And what's scary is how comfortable people are with it. You got people bringing children into chaos and calling it real life. No, it's irresponsible. And let me say this clearly, because people love twisting words. This is not about shaming people who already have kids. This is about stopping the cycle. Because the Bible also says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked, and a man reaps what he sows. Meaning, you cannot keep planting disorder and expect peace to grow. God knowing your heart does not cancel consequences. Grace does not remove responsibility. And this culture be lying to women heavy. They'll tell you, at least you got his baby. At least you got that check. He'll come around. You'll be fine. No one talks about the emotional toll, the financial stress, the broken family dynamic, the children growing up confused because two adults cannot control themselves. Sex was never meant to create a single parent household. It was meant to build families. The Bible says children are a blessing from the Lord, not a byproduct of vibes. And men need to hear this too. Putting babies in women you're not willing to marry is not masculine. It is selfish. That's not leadership. That's a lack of discipline. So yeah, culture might clap for baby mama and baby daddy mess, but heaven does not. God is not impressed by your excuses. He's truly looking for obedience. So what do we do with this? Stop normalizing what God never endorsed. We stop calling recklessness real. We stop letting lust make lifelong decisions. We raise the standard again for women, for men, for families, because children deserve structure. Women deserve covering. Men need to lead better. And if that makes people uncomfortable, good, because conviction is supposed to be uncomfortable. This culture needs to break this cycle now, because God does not miss.
Amen, amen, and amen. I couldn't have said. If I knew how to word it better, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean,
I don't
at the
think
end of the day,
anything
it's
needs to.
time out for sitting up there trying to sugarcoat to make people feel good about the decisions that they make.
Absolutely.
The word is what it is. You can argue against scorched all day long, but what you're not gonna do is argue against the word. Either we gotta align ourselves to what the word of God says, and I'm only talking to those that are believers. If you're not a true believer, I ain't talking to you. Get on. I'm sorry. Bolo, I'm sorry. It just is what it is.
I mean, that was the point. The point, I mean, when you listen, let's just keep it. I've been watching this television show called The Diplomat,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, there's certain conversations that you have with certain people. It just is what it is. There's certain conversations you're going to say, you know what? Nah, you're not. We can't have that conversation with you. You can listen, but you need to be quiet. We can't have that conversation with you. So again, like I said, typically when I speak, I'm speaking to believers. Now, if someone that's not a believer wants to ask a question, then the whole conversation has to switch, because there are certain things that I can say to a believer that they're going to click into. There are certain things that I'm going to have to preface and I'm going to have to build in someone that's not, because they don't have the foundation that a believer does, right? And even in the family, even in the Lord's church, there are levels to it. There are some that you're going to have to answer those questions. There are some that you just say it, they get it. You know what I'm saying? There's different levels. There are babes in the truth. There are teenagers in the truth. There are adults in the truth, in the scriptures. So, you have to know where your people are. You have to know where they are. You're not going to tell your 3-year-old, all right, man, go take the garbage out. Your 3-year-old going to look at you like, what? So you're going to have to speak. That's why I love that the video before this of how he prefaced it and broke it down to his daughter in a way that even an adult can't fight it.
It was that's why it was like, dude, what can you say?
Like that breakdown. So yeah, I agree with it. Do you want to put the
yeah, you can go on and put the link up. Hey, for anybody that wants to come on and join the club. Yeah, man, I can't you can't refute certain things. Certain things once they said, that's all. What is it? How it go, Bolo?
That's
what's understood don't need to be said, and what's said don't need. It already comes with understanding.
Absolutely. I just wanted to address what Mo. I seen your name, man. Let me just address what Mo.
Only scam. Dust.
Yeah. No, you got to look at the name he put under. When I take down Mo's thing, you'll see it.
No, that was from something else. I just changed it.
Okay. She says.
What did it say?
The hater.
The hater.
Oh.
It was from something else, not this. It's from something else.
Yeah. So she writes, it's about humility and delivering the word. The truth is always the truth. That's 100%. That's 100% spot on. You can't go around that. The truth is the truth, and it stands on its own. And Scorch and I was having this conversation when we were discussing the show that, the Lord puts us through what we go through so that we can take this word and be able to mold it in a way through the Holy Spirit so that that person that's in that hurt, trauma, whatever it may be, so that we can give them the word so that they can understand it from a position of where they're at in that moment. That's the purpose. Understand why Job is going through what Job is going through. Job is going through what Job is going through for us to understand it so that we don't have to go through what Job went through, right? Joseph went through what he went through so that he can provide a place for his family. The Lord had to take him through all those steps to get him to the point that he needed to be, where he was that man of love, integrity, forgiveness, understanding, temperance, long suffering. He had to go through those things. And that's when the Holy Spirit said, hey, now you understand why. Now you understand why. Now you're fit to rule. Because you'll be a cruel ruler if you have no forgiveness in you. You'll be a cruel ruler if you have no humility in you. Because although the Lord gave us the truth, he met us where we were at, right? He got down on his knees to talk to us because we're so small. Because of us being so small. He didn't wag his finger at us. Now, are there times when he does that? Absolutely. Absolutely, there are times for that to happen. But that's not the norm. We don't live there. That's the point. We don't live there. So humility is very important. When you are allowing the Lord to use you through humility, I am not adding my hot sauce on top of it. Because my wife did something that is similar to what your wife did, now I'm going to pervert the word to give it to you in a way that makes you more angry, opposed to saying, brother, listen, I learned from that, and yeah, it hurt me. But this is what you can get, how you can move left and right so that this doesn't happen to you. So I'm glad you put that out there, Mo. All right, so we have ACOG, we have scam, we have lady, we have strange gnosis. All right, so with that being said, let's get scam first. What's going on, my G?
Good evening, everyone. How's it
Scam
going?
new name is Haterade.
This is my used car salesman smile.
Okay.
No, here's just my pushback on a couple things. And one of them is just words. The first one was the vulnerable thing. Man, you can't be vulnerable with the women's because, they're going to get you. If you're vulnerable, can't do it. You married or single, whatever it is, you and woman, and you can't be vulnerable in a form of the truth, then that relationship already is vulnerable. That's more, how more vulnerable can a relationship get? You can't even tell her the truth. You can't even tell her, hey man, things about to get rough. This is going on. Or, hey man, I'm feeling this way, and what's she there for? Now I get there's some people already in that situation. I don't know what to tell them because they're already there. All they can do is work with what they got and try to get better, try to influence and change the environment of what they're in. But I wouldn't tell my nephews, don't ever be vulnerable with the women. Their job is support. If they can't be, if you don't get, that's like saying, I want you to drive a car. You drive and them sit in the passenger seat, but I want you to drive and hold the map at the same time because you can't count on them to give you the right directions. What they in the passenger seat for then? Why they there? And I guess through time, you'll figure out, can you be vulnerable? Now I say to women, because I'm not equal opportunity, you should only have one or two chances. Man get vulnerable and you get to acting crazy, he's not going to be vulnerable with you again. Or at least he shouldn't. He probably should replace you. When it's time that a person needs support, you need to be there for your people. The other thing was, I guess, the guy with the umbrella. The point I was trying to make was it was prior to him saying,
what do I always say, Scam? Listen to the whole matter, and sometimes your questions get answered. Don't I always say that?
No, I plead guilty.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
I'm just clearing up I'm just clearing up what was said and what was implied.
Okay.
And it's a short clip. He's not responsible for saying everything I want him to say. I get it. All I was saying, because it was implied, girl, when things get rough, when it's get to raining, get under a man. And that's like implying, man correct, man gonna save you. I'm like, hold on. Some of these dudes aren't even the umbrella. Some of these dudes are the very storm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as the dad, he's showing that he is that person. Actions speak louder than words, so that's a form of teaching. But I hear a lot of men, and I hate to refer to the dust panels, but since it's already open, they're saying how men are these super provider protecting. We do it all. If the women would just listen. Then when they get their 13-year-old daughter and her body starts filling out, oh no, you can't even go to the store. The men gonna get you. Oh, oh. Okay, will you let your woman date? No, not till she's 46. Because you know what? There's a lot of men what they're doing. They ain't holding no umbrellas. They the ones pouring bleach on somebody. Now I'm not saying all men or the men. I said nothing about the women's, but I'm not saying but you got to see the whole picture, the both sides. Hey, this is what a person who holds an umbrella looks like. When he said integrity, I'm like, okay, I got you, bro. And I'll plead guilty to that. Men with integrity hold that umbrella. Men with integrity that are vulnerable will tell you, hey, I forgot the umbrella, baby. I forgot it. Men who can't be vulnerable, they start making up that jive. Now both of them get drenched. But yeah, that's just me being petty.
Well, let me say this to what you said. Let me say this to what you said. You made some good points. Again, children learn from what they see. They learn from things being repetitive. Right? You can tell them to do something, but they learn from watching you. So she has her father. The first girl that a little girl falls in love with is her father. The first woman that a little boy falls in love with is his mother. We measure these people against everyone we meet, be it positive or negative. That's what we do subconsciously and subliminally. Okay, so when he's explaining these things, and he broke it down so eloquently in a way that even in the middle of him speaking, she's not lost because she's asking pertinent questions. But what about this? And he's like, that's a good question. Let me show you this. Bam, bam, bam. So that means that she's comprehending every step of the way. Now, the beauty in speaking in such... Someone need to mute, man.
Oh, snap, my bad.
Yeah, so the beauty in him speaking in such simple terms is that when she grows up, those simple words that he used are going to be fortified and strengthened. It's the same way when we read the word. The word doesn't change. It's never changed, right? We read the same word, but for some reason, when you get a little bit more wisdom and understanding, when you come back to that same verse and you look at it, it changes its whole thought process and you understand it differently. It's not because of the word. That wisdom was always there. It's because now you're able to discern and understand it. So now that simplistic breakdown that the father gave her, it now becomes fortified as a strong maple tree. Because now she's going to sit here and watch these dudes. And that's why he said, not all men. Not all men. Those men that have character and integrity. Those men that have direction. If we're not going to give our little girls an option, then they're going to figure it out in the street. Same thing as the boys. If they're not seeing an option, they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. So I love the way he broke it down. I love the way he broke it down because he held both accountable. That how can you ask to be covered, but yet you don't want to be covered? That don't make no sense to me. You want to eat, but when I offer you the food, you don't want to eat. That's a problem. That's a problem that we have to deal with. So yeah, it was awesome the way he broke it down. I love the way he did it. Kudos to that dad.
Yeah, Scorch, do you have any pushback towards anything that I said?
No, I know you part of the dust panel, so I know that sometimes you made your retribution and said you apologize. So I ain't gonna mess with you. I believe you low.
But the vulnerable thing, I'm standing that.
Oh yeah. But see,
I'm with that. You can't be vulnerable.
Explain that to me. I'm glad you mentioned that. Explain that to me and what it is that you were saying with that, because maybe I misunderstood when you said fear. And what way are you saying that that's the fear thing?
Okay. You're going through it. You just ain't good. And your woman asks how you doing. Hey, everything's good. Then as soon as
No,
you
no,
call,
no, no, no. I'm not talking about that scam. I'm talking about the part where you said the thing about fear.
oh,
And you
okay.
said that, yeah,
Use that.
that's what I'm talking about. The vulnerability thing, I'm with you on that.
No, it's
I
come on
understand.
fear as far as they're telling men don't be vulnerable with your woman out of fear. If you're vulnerable, she's going to do this and she's going to do that and she's going to get you. But they're going to turn into this. That's fear-based.
No, I think with the comment when I read that, he wasn't talking about fear to being vulnerable to the women. He was saying to when we talk about coming to each other as men, and that's where the fear comes sometimes come in. Yeah,
Same
that
thing. Some people are weak in different ways. Like some people are socially weak, so they're so scared of them. They're so scared of what people think and have to fit in so bad. They can't say, "Hey, man, I ain't got no money, bro. Y'all got to go to the sports bar. I can't go because I don't have no money." Or, "Hey, man, we all out. I would talk to that pretty girl over there, but I don't know about that." They're scared to actually, so they start acting however. So same thing, you're going through something, you can't even call your homeboy. And he might have the answer or can guide you through it because he's so scared he gonna shame and gonna get you.
Let me ask you a question, Scam.
Mm-hmm.
And this is gonna sound like a stupid question, but believe it's not.
Okay.
When Kobe Bryant was in the helicopter with his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
do you think he told his daughter, "We gonna die"?
I don't think he knew.
That's not the question I asked you. You have an innate breakdown in your mind when you're saying, "This ain't good, dog." In your mind, you in a helicopter. Do you think that if his daughter,
I'm kind of missing what you're saying.
if his daughter asked him, "Daddy, are we gonna be okay?" What do you think his response would have been?
I think he believed it was gonna be okay.
Okay. Let's say he didn't believe it.
Okay.
Do you think he would have told her that?
Okay. To kids, a little different.
She wasn't she was in her teens. She wasn't 4 or 5. She was in her teens.
Okay.
So do you think he would have told her, "Nah, son, we ain't getting out of this one"? Even if he had that inclination and she asked, do you think he would have told her that?
I don't know, because I don't know what he would tell his own self.
Well,
okay. How do you speak to yourself when you're dying?
Listen, I can't lie to myself. The one person I'm not going to lie to is me.
But if you knew you're dying and the plane is going down, like
yeah,
and I'm going to die,
yeah,
I won't be able to tell myself everything's going to be okay. So I definitely ain't going to be able to tell the daughter. I'm being panic mode and blood pressure popping.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The point that I'm making is that, and I had this conversation too on another panel, that what Shaq was saying, because I don't think a lot of people hear what Shaq was saying. Okay, she was 12. Thank you. What Shaq was saying is, I think we missed it. Shaq said, if I tell my wife my issue, meaning a big one, it's not a small one, my issue, the only thing she's gonna do is put it back on me. But what are we gonna do?
Oh, that's the problem then.
Well, that's why. Hold on. No, that's not an issue. Because I expect listen, if I'm coming to my wife and I tell her, "Yo, listen, man, I tried to get this done. We losing the house, man."
Mm-hmm.
Now, by the time I'm bringing this to her, I've tried everything. Now, maybe you might have a plan that I couldn't fathom up, which I'm open to, but I tried to do everything before I brought it to this, the family meeting. We losing the crib at the end of the week, and today is Wednesday.
I don't know,
and I know that's a far. I know I'm going far left. The point
because your wife would have knocked the snot out of you for waiting so dang late.
Yeah, why didn't you say something 60 days ago when you missed the first payment?
This is the point. We should be able to, and that's why I'm saying that if you have that, if you've cultivated that environment, that's why I said the environment is important.
I agree.
Cultivate. If you have that environment, our job as husbands are to guide our women, not only provide for them mentally, monetarily, physically, spiritually. If my son's dog died and I seen him walking into the house and he had a hard day, I'm not going to tell him right then and there, hey, guess what, son? Yeah, your dog died too. I'm going to wait for the moment.
I can understand that.
And that's that's the discernment that we're lacking as the leaders, the husbands.
Can I go to your very example?
Yes, sir.
The house.
Yeah.
John is married to Tanisha. Payments looking funny.
Right.
Behind on the mortgage. Why the first time you can't make the mortgage payment? Okay, I'll put it two ways. You should go to your wife and tell her, hey man, we can't make this mortgage payment prior to we're losing the house. If the relationship is so bad that you can't be vulnerable and say you can't do it, then you're vulnerable anyway. You might as well go ahead and do what you do and let it collapse. But waiting 60 days and every one of those days sweating bullets, scared to open the mail, that's fear. That's weak.
Absolutely. 100%.
That's kind of what I'm referring to. Man, I can't open it. Hey, dog, hide the mail. The big bad woman gonna get me. What?
Right. But here's the thing, though, Scam.
The relationship's already bad. Hey, we're losing the house.
Here's the thing, Scam, that we need to understand. That statements like that is what push men further away. It doesn't invite them.
Yeah, because for a weak man, we ain't never looking for a way out. We not looking because we already know that we in a losing situation. The last thing we need to be hearing is we lost. No, because at the end of the day, ain't no we in this because I'm the one that's still gonna have to take the grunt of everything, which I'm cool with. But the last thing I need is to be told. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but that's not where I was going.
I was having the conversation different, talking to the weak man. I'm talking to y'all, so I'm just saying it as is.
Right. But I'm saying to you that there are weak men listening. You dig what I'm saying? There's weak men. So the point that I'm making is if we cultivate an environment to tell women, listen, we're going to create an environment where you feel safe. We're going to create an environment where your voice is heard. But there's going to be order. We gotta create an environment for those men too. We gotta create an environment for those brothers that feel, because you have to understand, those brothers that are hurt, those brothers that are air quotes weak, whatever those are the brothers going to these other cats, the fresh and fits. These are the brothers that are going to these dudes to get this snake oil that they're selling. And they use it because they're tapping into their anger and into their pain. They're not trying to pull out the champion and the leader out of them. What they're doing is they're keeping them tied up in that weakness by saying, let's go overseas and find this shorty. Let's go overseas and find this shorty. You know, the more shorties you put on the notch of your belt, the better man you're gonna be. They're not telling them, listen, before we even talk to any woman, dog, let's deal with you first.
Yes, absolutely.
They're not doing that because that's not
beneficial to their pockets.
Right. It's not beneficial, my dude. It's not beneficial. It's not beneficial at all. And half of these dudes that are telling you what not to do, they're doing.
And that too.
You know what I'm saying? When you have a Donovan Sharp telling you don't get no chick that has a child. Don't get no chick that's older than you. His chick is both these things. In fact, he lied and said that the woman's daughter was his niece. When that was his daughter.
Wasn't that Cooley?
No, it wasn't Cooley. Cooley's another.
I know Cooley said something similar like that, though.
Yeah. Let's stay focused. So what I'm saying is we have to cultivate that environment for those brothers that are hurt, for those brothers that are angry. So we need to be mindful. The same way we cultivate an environment for the women, we say, yo, Duke, you need to chill in that. You know, there's women listening. There's also brothers listening. There's also a brother that thinks he's so weak that he might try to delete himself. And we're telling them now, Duke, you ain't weak. You in a place of hurt. But who hasn't? Who hasn't been there?
No, I agree. Somebody has to do the dirty work. And I get what you're saying, how it's being said, but I'm seeing people being lied to, or is a message being said.
I agree.
Score is 84-6. And they covered up the scoreboard, and you don't know what the score is, and they're lying and saying, "No, you good, bro.
So
yeah, you good. Yeah." Mm-hmm. Eventually, hey, bro, pull that curtain up on, pull that sheet from up top and look at that.
Game over.
But I get what you're saying. Somebody who's weak is gonna have a nervous breakdown right there on the spot, and it's kind of insensitive to say, "Well, he's gonna have a nervous breakdown anyway after the game."
Yes.
Well, the sad part about it is, I do
agree with calling a timeout and not just saying we're losing, but hey,
let's come up with a plan.
We gotta do what we can to put up as many points as we can.
Absolutely.
And let's refer back to 3 games ago when we dunked on the other team and we was rocking. Let's get our mindsets there and do as there has to be a plan for trying to win or get better. I agree with that.
I absolutely and I mean to Scam's point,
not that much.
We got to move on with the other panelists. To Scam's point,
yeah, I'll mute up.
We got to get to a point to where we're not giving out secondhand prize ribbons. Based off that analogy and what he said about a football game, and you losing 86-6. Well, hey, you don't get a second prize ribbon. Toughen up and be better for the next time. I can see where Scam's coming from. I can also see where you're coming from, Bolo.
It's a balance of both. It's a balance of both. Right.
But I mean, we got to get to a point that everybody ain't going to win first place.
This is my thing, man. My advice is very practical, right? I try to come from the most practical, logical position possible. I remember when I was co-coach of my son's team, they just needed a parent, second parent. I didn't pay attention when they were talking about doing this. I paid attention and I groomed my son. But as far as the plans, so the coach was called to an emergency. So, Bolo, it's you. So I'm looking at it like timeout. I said, listen, everybody know their position, right? Yeah, play it. Play the position that you play. There's this one kid on the other team that was killing us with 3-pointers. Killing us. I called timeout. I said, okay, guys, none of us have fouls. Check this out. You see that dude right there, number 32?
Foul him every time.
Foul him every time he touches that ball. That's the plan. I don't want him to touch that ball. We got 5 fouls, everybody. We got 11 people here. That dude right there ain't going to touch the ball. And we won. So sometimes the most practical advice is the one sitting right there. You ain't got to pull out, schematics and all these different things. Sometimes the answer is right there. We just need to open our eyes. And I think Vaughn said this too. We're looking for Christ to come one way, and he comes this way, real humble. We waiting for a dove to land on top of our car with a message and an eagle behind him. And Gabriel, he's not doing that, dog. It's not coming that way. So panoramically, look around and keep your options open, because the Lord can talk to you however he chooses. So I believe after Scam, it was Lady Navoa, then Strange Notions, then ACOG. Go ahead, lady.
Hold on one second.
Okay, we're moving on.
I'm talking. I was just like, hold on 1 second, like maybe 1 second, because I have to get out the noise because the game is on. But first off, shout out to everybody. Make sure you guys hit the like. I gotta still moderate. Please hit the like. Also, this is a good live. This kind of remind me of the I don't know if it was the last one or the one before, because this is the 4th show, right, Bolo?
Yeah, this is Scorch's 4th, I believe.
Okay, I believe it was a 2nd or the 3rd one. It was kind of the same genre of what we're talking about, and I love every video you guys played. I agree with them, especially the girl that was talking about God, that was hard. The dad that was teaching his daughter, because we have to start young to teaching our kids how to become what we're talking about in these topics. Submitting to your husband, husbands love your wives like you love the church, etc., etc. But the only thing we're not talking about is how people forgetting what a helpmate is as a wife and their roles. They just expect, oh, he's supposed to do this, do that, do that, do that. But what are you supposed to do, etc., etc., etc. You guys become one, be equally yoked, and not just expect the other to do more than you. And then I liked how you guys were talking about it, because I'm hearing the men's perspective. It's something that we need to hear nowadays, so we can hear what you guys want, what you guys like, your perspectives all the time, more than hearing us speak on it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's important too, if that makes sense. Does it make sense? Hello, did I say that right? That part?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you're saying?
So I just wanted to say that. And when I was hearing you guys, you and Scam talking, and I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I had all these thoughts, and then I lost my train of thought. Then I kept coming back. Scam, I see where you coming from, but everything that Bolo had told you, I agree with. I really agree with it. I really do. And I agree with what you said too, because I understood what you were saying. But shout out to these videos, and shout out to the men's perspective of what they saying about the videos, because this is well needed, and it's not what you say, the dust panel, and they not arguing and say, yeah, you're on and talking about blue pill, yellow pill, green pill, and all of that. When you guys speak here, you guys speak like men. Y'all don't speak like color coding, like you have to be this color to be this man. And that's what I love hearing about y'all. So I'm gonna mute so I can hear y'all more, because this is really good. And I ain't gonna lie, that made me lost my train of thought on a lot of things, because I was just listening to y'all.
All right.
Good job, sport.
All right. Strange Gnosis.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Village. I'm usually not up here, but I actually wanted to come up for this conversation. It's a very, very rich conversation, very rich platter of nourishment tonight. Past couple nights actually. But I'll start with the Shaq video. The Shaq video. I honestly, I think the main topic, after listening to everybody, Scam, Scorch, Lady Navoa, I appreciate everyone's perspective. And I think no matter what everyone's perspectives was, the main thread was vulnerability. And I think it really highlighted just the importance of this topic. And this conversation with the people that we're having it with a mixture of men, women, all different, backgrounds and stuff like that, because many times it's brought up, these kind of conversations, they're not just black and white. Like they're standards for certain things, but things are all over the place. So with Shaq's video about fear and a man not showing fear, I had a lot of things to say. Some of the things I said in the chat, but what I'll say openly is that it was, I agree with both Scorch and I agree with everybody, because the thing is that I feel, as I said in the back chat, that men and women were created as partners. And I'm saying this because it's stated openly over and over in the Village, that we speak to people who are believers or people who are non-believers. Right now, I'm speaking of believers. Man and women were created as partners. Like when Adam looked at the rest of the animals and saw they had their comfort zone. It wasn't just something for sex. They had their comfort zone. When you see how animals interact, they find comfort in their partners. So like when man has woman, I think of it like this: that the same way when a daughter leaves the covering of her father to go under her husband, a son leaves the covering of the bosom of his mother to go on the bosom of his wife, or the woman that he's courting as his wife. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's mentally, it starts mentally before physically. Even if we're talking about before you even get to a wife, you're courting mentally. So there has to be, and obviously and I think maybe that's the conversation that needs to be had, brought out more outside of because how it's spoken in these spaces, these quote unquote red pill spaces like Fresh and Fit, it's very contained. Like you guys mentioned, it's extremely contained. And people like my age, I mean, I'm not the youngest cat, but like those guys, I never liked them. I never listened to any of that kind of stuff, but I could always understand why it's easy to fall into that stuff, because when you see how people interact today, it is very easy to forget what we're conditioned to how we're conditioned to treat each other, and how we're made for each other. And in my opinion, the way I read the Bible, I'm just still a child in the Lord. I know nothing, but the Bible states that we're partners. So there has to be some level of vulnerability. Now, when we speak of quote unquote, I would say extremes, like, like we're about to lose the house, last mortgage kind of stuff like that. Again, every relationship, I believe, starts and ends with how well you read your partner. And every situation is different. Every person goes into a relationship in different points in their life with different baggages or mentalities. But the main thing that needs to be, that is a standard, whether or not they're both in places when they get in a relationship or not, is that they have to be able to read each other. And reading each other doesn't mean you have to be mentally like acute to everything of your partner, but I believe it's just like Bolo said. Everyone said it in a different variety. It's the environment that you have, and that not only is physically, but that's mentally. Like, the same storm that can be your mortgage being lost could be someone's mental anguish that they deal with daily due to past traumas that, again, due to vulnerability, again, which I say is the bigger conversation. Men are different with vulnerability. Women are different with vulnerability. That is a common thing. Everyone knows that. But how are we able to process these in a way where we can open up to each other about things, where we're not scaring the other away or making the other feel rejected? I think that's the bigger, instead of pointing fingers at each other and saying, oh, we can't do this because you're going to run away, or we can't do this because you're going to do this, then how can we instead point the finger at ourselves and say, how can we do this in a way where I'm not running away or feeling I have to be machismo, or I have to lie to myself or lie to you when I know myself that things aren't okay? Because as a man, yeah, you're supposed to always have things okay, but you can't at the same time say life is life, and at the same time say as a man everything's supposed to be okay. Life hits men too, the same way it hits women. So it's something where, again, vulnerability, I think, is the biggest cloud over everything that was spoken. The next video, for the umbrella, I thought was awesome as well, in terms of the simplicity of the analogy, especially with how, like everyone mentioned, like, it starts one way and then it branches off another and branches off another. But I think back to something that Bolo said, is that, like, it was a child. And something as simple as an umbrella. Like, I think I'm a father, and I think of, like, when my daughter asked me a question like that, the simplest way I would tell her is, okay, well, water wet, you don't want to get wet, umbrella keeps, the simplest way he started it out. But it's just the same exact way as with life. When you grow, you get different experience. There's different levels of submission as a girl when you're 5 versus different levels of submission as a girl when you're 15 versus when you're 25 married. Like, there's different levels. And again, I'm right now projecting to the believers, like my train of thought is directing specifically to them. When you grow and understand through experience, and you're reading the word, and I don't mean that in a way of perfection, you're going to falter, you're going to this and that, but just ever forward growth. If you take every negative experience and as a man, I'm speaking this as a man, I still falter, but every negative experience I've ever been through, I've tried to take it as something to make me understand why I should always, even though the woman has to hold the umbrella up, why I should be in a position to be held up in the first place, why the woman should also want to hold me up. And that brings up, again, bigger conversations that I think get overshadowed by the finger pointing of blame. On both sides. On both sides. The third video also was the baby mama daddy epidemic video. It seemed like that woman was also coming from a place of faith. And one thing I would say is that is a all too real statistic. That is an all too real statistic. And it's not even about the baby daddy. I don't even think the biggest problem in that video that she was talking about was even the baby daddy, baby mommy issue. It was the lack of communication issues and the rash decisions that people make when they're in covenants like that. And I think what it has to do with is it was spoken of, I think it was last night or the night before, about what it means when you really decide to go under that covenant, or when you really decide to have a family, or when you really decide to make certain decisions as a believer. Again, when you say you're a believer and you're making these decisions, are you doing it one toe in, or are you ready for the full everything that comes with it? And I'm speaking this as a man, as someone that is reading Job along with you guys. Like it is something that as men we need to give ourselves more grace, I think, in a good position where not, and I don't mean to beat ourselves up, but there's so much that is on us as men, given from the world and from the Most High himself. And if we lie to ourselves first and foremost, I think that is the worst thing. I'm not speaking for how anyone here should speak specifically to their woman. I think what I'm saying right now is that you need to be more in control of yourself as a man, or be more in tune with yourself as a man and what you really think that means before you want to tell someone else why they should submit under you. The other last two things, I'm sorry if I took too long. I'll be very quick. It's just, like I said, very, very rich conversation. The last two things was, again, when it was brought up about these relationships and are a very viral topic for the past few years. You guys mentioned Fresh and Fit, Kevin Samuels, all these people everywhere. They've been blowing up, and everyone has something to say. Everyone has something to say. And one thing I just want to speak on is that when I look at someone like Fresh and Fit and their teachings, I think of how in the book where it speaks about the measure of man, like, you know, like you see the measure of man by like its fruit. And the thing is that, again, anyone can have a mic. Anyone could have a mic. Anyone can have a mic. And I think the power of influence on this world and our view, our glitz and glam, as a believer, we shouldn't look to people like that on platforms like that. Just look at their fruits. Look at how they present themselves. Look at how, and it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with who they invite on their panels, because as a believer, you should put, like as mentioned here before, you should be able to have conversations with anybody. You should be able to want to put yourself out in front of anybody and want to reach the word. But when you decide to make a mockery of something, when you decide to clown it, when you decide to put yourself above something else instead of meeting it to a point of understanding and growth, that should already be a red flag. So again, you should already that's spoiled fruit. And again, I'm not saying that as a way to judge anybody or anything like that or anything. It's just, again, as a believer, if you need understanding, if you're a believer and you're listening to The Village, you're already in the right place. You're in the right place. So just pay attention to fruit. One last thing I wanted to bring up was about what Bolo mentioned about waiting for a message when something's right in front of you. From experience, that is something that, and again, as a man, which is the most important, because this right here is just is vulnerability. Some people there could be certain men out here listening to what I'm saying and could be clowning what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, I feel it needs to be heard. So what maybe to some people could be looked at as weakness, to some could be looked at as strength. And I'm not using that to back off what Scam said, but I understood, again, perception and perspective. It's all in how you see it. But waiting for a message when things are right in front of you, a lot of times, it's wild that this is at the same time we're reading Job. A lot of times in anguish as men, even as women, we think at points like, crap, yo, how is this guy? Even though you know it's got to get done, you still, I mean, Jesus cried out before he died. So it is not outside of the order. It shouldn't be outside of the ordinary for a man to be looked at as wrong when he looks in the mirror, when he's looking at himself and knows, hey, I'm not in an okay place right now. And when you're at that place where you're crying out for messages, crying out, a lot of times you want to see that thing happen, right? You want to see your life change right in front of you in a way that you think is what's best. And that is definitely not how it works. That is definitely not how it works. I'm not going to take much more time. I'll let other people way more versed than I am speak on this topic. But there are plenty of stories, plenty of chapters where things aren't given to you in the ways that you think they would be, but in the ways that they should be. And what it is that ratio of it happening versus you seeing it or choosing to see it. A measurement of stubbornness against a blessing, I guess I would say sometimes. I speak again from experience. I'm not going to go and give my testimony or story right now or any of that, but it's just more so sometimes the things that hurt us the most are sometimes the things that we need, because it gives us the grace that sometimes we can't even give ourselves. And the Most High knows we need that grace. Jehovah knows we need that grace. So again, just speaking to the believers that, and even to the non-believers, because even if you don't believe, you still experience the same vulnerability. You still experience the same baby daddy issues. You still experience the same umbrella. You still have to experience the same level of understanding as a man and as a woman. Like, that's where I said, like, the level of growth of that umbrella conversation. Like, we could have a whole 5-hour conversation about that umbrella video alone. But like I said, I thank you guys for the time. I'll mute myself, and yeah, I'm excited to hear what everyone else has to say.
All right, so ACOG's next, then 84. Guys, we got 15 minutes, so make your statements concise. So go ahead.
Go ahead and let 84 go.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
All right, 84, floor is yours.
Man, I made it just in time, man. I was having computer issues. I was like, I know Bolo and Scorch is on, and I just made it just in time. But yeah, man. I just wanted to come through and show y'all love, man. I don't really know what y'all talking about. I seen you was on. I jumped on. And yeah, y'all. You know, I'm basically just come. I'm just here to show love. That's all I'm doing right now. So whatever
Thank you,
y'all
brother. I
rapping about,
appreciate
I'm
you.
listening. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you.
And love you guys, man. Definitely.
Love you too, my G. ACOG, back on you. Deja vu.
All right. We only got 15 minutes, so yeah, I'm gonna let y'all start wrapping it up. I just want to say, Scores, great show. Again, it's another good show. Great topics. Um, you know, that's the people that they had was talking about in these videos, and I know I'm not saying they was actually talking about people, but the type of people that they're talking about, that's the type of person I strive to be like, you know, because I already gave y'all my backstory on how, I projected a lot from what my father did onto my kids and stuff. Now I'm trying to correct that. I'm trying to rewrite the wrongs and make it something of positivity for them. So yeah, great show. You know, I'll catch the next one. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more time for me to elaborate on stuff.
All right. Well, listen. After this, we're all going to Mo Love show at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, 10:30 Central Standard Time. So, I don't know if Scam, if you got anything you want to say, and I guess Scorch can end it.
I got nothing else. I held the mic. I had plenty of mic time. Shout out to Scorch.
Scorch, floor is yours. You talk. Yeah, floor is yours, bro. You talking on mute.
Oh, dang, I'm muted. Thanks a lot for all the good wishes and whatnot, man. Thank you guys for coming on here. This couldn't be done without y'all input and y'all interjection. The best way to move this things forward is if we all come together as one and do it all together. To everybody that's in a live chat and those that are listening out in the atmosphere, thank you for coming on and just enjoying an hour and a half or two with your boy Scorch. As I always like to end the segment, I love you guys, but I don't like none of y'all. Good night.
Peace. Love you all.